The dominant image is where our eyes are drawn to first. So clearly in this image it would be Jack sitting on the bed. Kubrick does this with the intention that we would see Jack first, knowing that he has control and power over the situation going on between him and Danny. The subsidiary contrast would be where our eyes go after the dominant image. So as you can see here, our eyes next go towards Jack in the mirror as well as Danny in the background. The intention behind these subsidiary contrasts would be that the director, Kubrick, is able to let the audience know that these two characters, Jack once again, as well as Danny, the separate character, are both very important and play two important roles within this frame. They just do not have as much power as Jack. Now, the framing of this shot is done very, very strategically. Kubrick places Jack in both a power point and essentially every single third of the frame. He takes place in the left third, the middle third, and the right thirds of the frame. This is showing once again his utter dominance and power and control over Danny, and in the place of this film, or in the situation in this film at this time. Danny is placed in the middle third, showing that he is the center of Jack's thoughts. He is the center of attention right now, that everything kind of revolves around his actions. Now Kubrick does place Jack in all thirds to show once again his dominance, his power, and that he is leading the audience to believe that Jack is going to come out, getting what he wants, which is to kill Danny and his wife, essentially. Now, if we look at the different colors within this shot, we can see that most of them are light colors, which gives off an uplifting tone. Danny's wearing a nice kind of light blue sweater. The walls are pink. There's a little bit of yellow in there too. And then we see Jack, who is wearing a dark blue robe. This contrasts heavily against the pink wall. And this also gives off his sense of evil, his sense of evil intentions and negativity that he brings about to the film as a whole, pretty much. Danny being in the light blue gives off his innocence and the fact that he is just a child, that he shouldn't have to be going through all of this, that he shouldn't have to be going through such a horrible experience here at this hotel that should really be something great to experience with his family. Now if we look at the character placement, now Kubrick strategically places the characters as well. So by having Danny in the center, that, as I said earlier, gives off that he is Jack's center of attention, the center of all his thoughts. But Kubrick uses the mirror strategically to place Jack on both sides of the frame. Now Jack is on the right side as well as the left side, showing that he is surrounding Danny, showing that he kind of has control over Danny at this moment, and that he is the dominant power as of now in the film. As we look at the character proxemics, we can see that Jack is much larger in the frame due to the fact that he's placed closer to the camera. Now this causes him to be larger in appearance, showing that he is superior over Danny, who is placed in the back of the frame, which results in him being smaller than he usually is. Now this is shown once again. Jack is given power and dominance, and looking at the angle of this shot, we are able to see that it is about eye level. Now it's interesting to look at Jack and Danny's eye levels. Now we see that Jack has a much higher eye level than Danny, looking down on him at a different angle. Now this causes Danny to have to look up at Jack, signifying that Jack has more significance and power and is much more superior over Danny in this current situation. The depth of this shot gives off a lot of information that is not said. Now, by looking at Jack being placed closer to the camera and Danny placed further away, this immediately signifies that Jack, Jack is the dominant power, that Danny is weaker in this situation, if you look at it that way, that Jack is superior, Danny is inferior. Now, Jack is placed much more in focus than Danny, since Danny is so far back, and this once again establishes Jack's stance that he has in this shot. When looking into the composition of this shot, we can see some interesting elements that Kubrick uses. Now, by using the mirror, we are able to see both Danny and Jack's reactions in this shot. Now, this is done to give the audience a little bit more context of what is happening during this little confrontation between them. Now, Kubrick also, in the frame, is able to kind of establish a triangle between both Jack and Jack's reflection in the mirror, as well as Danny in the back of the frame. Now, this kind of represents the direct relationship between them, and that they are connected somehow between this kind of power that is going on throughout the whole film.